Hi everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to use Photoshop to achieve this Brno del Zhou style cubist photographic portrait. So let's begin. Firstly, we'll need to open up Photoshop. And we're going to open up our 3 edited black and white portraits, the front view, the 3/4 view, and the profile view. So I'll start that now. So I'm going to go to open, and I'm going to look for those 3 portraits that I edited the other lesson. So here's one. This is my front view of myself. And now I'm going to find the other 2 views. So my 3/4 view and my profile view. Okay, so now I've got those 3 portraits open. You'll notice that you can only see one at the moment. The other 2 are up here in the tabs. So if I click on them, I can make them appear at any time. The next thing I'm going to do is create a new A4 document. And this is where I'm going to put my Brno del Zhou style cubist portrait onto. So I'm going to go to File, New, and I'm going to make a blank A4 document. Now, in case you can't find the A4 preset, make sure you are on print. Okay, and that will give you print sizes. If you still can't see it, just click View All Presets, and you should be able to find A4 there. Here's my one here. So I'll click Create. Oh, and before I do that, I'm going to give it a title. I'm going to call it, I'll call it Cubist Self-Portrait. Okay, and then I click Create. Okay, now I'm going to start taking sections of myself and putting them onto this A4 document. But before I begin, I've noticed that some of my tools are missing, and my palettes as well. Actually, I do have my palettes here. I've got my layers and I've got my history, but my tools are missing. So you need to make sure you do have your layers and your history checked. So go to Window and make sure you click History. You click Layers, and you also click Tools, just in case they're missing as well. So I've got everything I need now. Now, what I'm going to do is go to my black and white portrait 1, and I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to use this rectangular selection tool, and I'm going to select a part of my face. So I think I'll start with my eyes. Okay, so I'm going to now go Edit, Copy, and then I'm going to paste it onto my blank document. But I'm going to use shortcuts because it's much faster, okay? So I'm simply going to go Command C or Control C if you have a PC. And then I'm going to go to my Cubist self-portrait, which is the blank document, and Command V. There we go. So I did practice this earlier and I must have copied my chin. Now I've got 2 things down. Now they kind of look like they're in proportion, so they don't look really abstract. Over here on the right, you'll see my palette. This one here, this layer here is my glasses. This layer here, my chin. Let's enlarge my glasses layer. So to enlarge that, we go Command T or Control T if you are using a PC. T for transform. And I can just make that bigger because I want that to really stand out. I do sort of like that part of the image. And I think I'll leave my chin as it is. So I'll just click Enter. Now, at any time, you can click on the bit that you want to move around and transform. You can also click on it in the layers panel. Now, if you're finding that you can't click on something on the actual image and transform or move it around, just have a look up here where it says auto select. Click, check auto select layer, which means wherever you click on your image, Photoshop will know that that is what you want to change or that's what you want to edit. So there's a little trick there for you rather than having to go to these layers every time. So I'm doing it quite, I'm showing you some tricks to make it easier and faster. Okay, let's go back to one of my portraits. I've selected the profile view and I would like to select this area here. So I'm going to go Command C and then, oops.
Try this. Let's try it. It's coffee.
Command C, and then I'm going to go back to my Cubist portrait, Command V. So I'm just going to move this around and Command T to enlarge. Notice what happens when I put another layer on. It ended up being behind my original layer, and to fix that up, all you need to do is go over here to your layers and move your layers around. You can actually shuffle them around like a stack of cards. So you can do that at any point to make sure that the part of your face that you want on the top is actually on the top layer. Or if you want to move it down to the bottom, you can do that also by just simply clicking and dragging that layer. Very easy. Okay, so Command T, because I think that's a little bit too big. I think I'd like it to look like that. And then I click Enter. Let's have a look here. I think I will take my nose and chin. Okay. Command C, and then back to this one, Command V, and then Command T to make it bigger. And I think I will, I don't mind that there. I just might move it down one layer. That's better. And I might, and if you want to move anything around, don't forget, this is your move tool here. So click on that, and that way you'll be able to move things around. So I still want it to look like a face, but a very cubist looking face. Okay, I'm going to now give myself a forehead. So let's see. I think I'll choose this image here. So again, using my rectangular selection tool, I'm just going to grab that section there. So Command C, and then back to this one, Command V. Now, it actually has been pasted, but it's behind everything. Can you see it's here? It's highlighted here. I'm just going to drag that to the top. There we go. And then I'll grab my move tool and put that, I think I'll put it there. I think I might just make that a tad bigger and then click Enter. And finally, I would like to complete the rest of my face, particularly on this side. So let's have a look. I think I'll use the front view. So I haven't done that very much, haven't used that one very much. So I think I'll just take this side. So Command C, and then back to my one, Command V, and move tool. Then I think I'll just put it here. And I actually want that to appear down the bottom. I don't want to see my eyes again. And Command T, I think I shall enlarge it a little bit and move it up a bit. There we go. So now I've got all these rectangles all over. And yeah, I think I'm happy with that. One thing I don't like is that the whole portrait is kind of moved a little bit too much to the right. So I'm going to show you how you can actually move the whole thing without having to move each section separately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Command and I'm going to click all my layers in the layer palette. Now that I've got them selected, I can use my Move tool to move the whole lot to the middle. There we go. That looks much better. Okay, so I'll click out of that. And the only other thing I really need to do now is a few adjustments. I think I'll add a little bit of shadow to each image so it looks like Brno del Zhou's photo sculptures. So I'm going to pick a part of the portrait that's really prominent and that's obvious, okay? And I think this part of my face, this part of my portrait is really obvious. It's very clear and easy to see. And I'm going to add a shadow to that. Okay, so in case you don't know how to find it, you can actually click the eyes off and on in your layer palette to see which layer it actually is. So it's this layer here. So I'm going to click on that. Now I'm going to double click and it's given me these different styles. And what I do want is a drop shadow. So I'm going to click on that. Okay. And I'm going to click the plus button. And I'm going to start adding a drop shadow. A drop shadow is just a shadow that's put underneath your layer to make it pop out, to make it look like it's floating and there's a shadow underneath it. So I'm just going to change the multiply to normal. And I'm going to play with these buttons. There we go. Distance has given me a very thick, heavy shadow underneath it. I'm just going to play with these. I can actually spread my shadow out a little bit more and I can change the size as well. Now I'm still not happy with that. So I'm going to go back to opacity here and just make it a bit softer and more transparent. And I'm also going to change the angle of the shadow. So I don't have a shadow all around the image. I just want it to look like it's coming from one angle. So you can actually move the angle round. So you're going to have to keep playing with this until you get exactly what you want. I'm still not happy with that, by the way. I think I might change the opacity and make it a lot softer. I think the distance is too wide. I think I just might decrease the distance here and perhaps the spread as well. Make the spread a bit less and I'll play with the size. Oh, I don't mind that. I think that looks fairly natural. I'm quite happy with that. And so once you've found a shadow that works for that particular layer, just click OK. And then what you do is you can copy that drop shadow and put it onto all your layers. So to do that, you right click that layer and you simply click on copy layer style. And then we're just going to put them on every single layer. So I'm going to click on that layer. I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste that layer style. So now I'm getting shadows underneath each one that I'm pasting that layer style onto. So paste layer style. So this is the easy bit really. And it's quite effective how it makes it pop. Much like Brno del Zhou's photo sculptures, which are actually three-dimensional, but we're doing ours on Photoshop. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I still think I need to move my head over a bit. So I'm just going to click all my layers. I'm going to Command Shift, Command click every single layer. I'm just going to move my face over a bit more with the Move tool. And that will move all the shadows as well. I think that's better. Okay, click out of that. The final thing I'm going to do is add a tiny little bit of grey to my white background over here in the layers panel. It's pure white at the moment, but I think a bit of grey will just make my image pop even more. So I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to, over here in the foreground color swatches, I'm going to click on that and find a very, very light grey. Now, greys exist on this side of the swatch palette over here, and I'm just going to go right up here. Can you see I've just selected a color that's almost white, but not quite. I'm going to try that. So now I'm going to go edit, fill, and I'm going to fill it with that foreground color and click OK. And that's just given it a tiny bit of shadow, a little bit of color, or a little bit of gray, just to make everything pop. And I think that looks pretty good. You may want to brighten up your tones a little bit. And if you, because just to make your expression pop even more. So I'm going to show you how to do that. You don't have to, but I'm going to show you anyway. So what you do is you go to each part of your face, you click on that layer, and you just go image, auto tone, and this will automatically adjust the tones for you. Okay, that just brightened it up a little bit. So I'm just going to go to each one and do that because I'm not quite happy with the adjustments that I made last lesson. So image, auto tone. So just make sure you've clicked on each layer. It's only making very slight adjustments, I've noticed. But you can give that a go as well if you just want to make it pop a little bit more. There you go. I think you could see how my hair became quite dark there, and I like that effect. And that's it, everyone. That is how you make a Cubist style self-portrait of yourself inspired by Brno del Zhou. So finally, we're just going to save that. So File, Save As. I'm going to save it on my computer in my folder. I'm going to save it as a Photoshop file to begin with. And I've actually made one earlier, so I'm just going to call this number 1, so I don't save over the top of my previous one. And then I'm going to save it again as a JPEG so that I can then insert that onto my Google Slides folio. Sorry, Google Slides VAPD. So I'll pick JPEG and then click Save. And I'm done. So I now have a self-portrait in the style of Brno del Zhou. That looks something like this, and it looks quite three-dimensional as well. Okay, so guys, have a go at that. That might take you a couple of lessons, so you'll probably need to pause it and restart it over a few lessons just to make sure you get it all done. Good luck with that and have fun. Thanks. Bye now.